Hailing frequencies open. Thank you for the reminder. Welcome back to Trek Retrek here on Geek the F Out. I am Captain Johnny.
I'm Ensign Kayla.
And we are here to talk about episode 23. Even though I said 24 in the thing, I was wrong. 23 of Star Trek the Original Series, A Taste of Armageddon.
Just a taste. Just
You want a taste? You want a taste?
A piece of me.
Little daddy magic.
Over.
It's a wrestling thing.
Of course it is. I expected nothing less.
Yes. Why don't you refresh them with what we do here?
So Johnny has seen everything in terms of Star Trek. I've seen nothing. So we're going through episode by episode from the beginning of the original series from our two very different perspectives and just, breaking down each episode from those perspectives. I said that in a very weird way, but you get the point.
Yeah. Different points of view for the same.
Yes.
So
two perspectives, one episode.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun.
Let's see. Episode 23, Taste of Armageddon, TVGuide.com says Kirk finds his entire crew sentenced to death when the Enterprise is caught in the crossfire of a 500-year-old conflict in which computers decide who will live and who must die. Indeed.
Yeah, this is definitely I feel like we say this every fucking week, but this is the different one. Also, I already used the F word within 5 minutes. So
that's okay.
Yeah, whatever.
We're not monetizing. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so they come across this planet but the planet is saying code 710, like don't approach us. And then this dude, Mr. Fox, is very upsetty spaghetti and was like, no, we need a treaty here. We need a treaty port here. So like y'all need to go down and like not respect their wishes, like completely ignore the consent of this planet and what they want. And you need to go down there and establish this port.
I wrote down, so Stardate 3192.1, which, like, the last episode, Space Seed with Khan was Stardate 31419. So, this is way past that. I think this is the first ambassador we've seen in Star Trek.
It is. I was like, who the fuck is this dude and why does he have so much authority? Like it wasn't really established very well until like, I don't know, a little bit into it. But so clearly he has more authority over Kirk.
Yeah, we had a dude in a similar role a while back in the Galileo 7. But he wasn't an ambassador. He was something else. Where was...
Yes, I remember him, but yeah, he was like dressed differently.
Galactic High Commissioner is what he was.
Okay, yeah.
But this is just an ambassador.
Wasn't quite the same.
Yeah. And I wrote down, let's just ignore the no trespassing sign. Like they don't mean us. Clearly they don't mean us. Everybody
never mean us. What are you talking about? Yeah. Never. We're special. We're entitled. We can do anything. Dear God, I'm annoying.
We're the fucking United Federation of Planets.
And they're like, we must establish diplomatic relations at all costs, which ties in later with my meme.
Okay.
Yeah, and apparently when they were there before, there was a war and the USS Valiant was lost. So I'm like, okay, you see this history. They're telling you not to come down. Like, is it really that important to establish this port and risk shit happening? It just kind of boggles. Yeah, it must be. It just kind of boggles my mind. So like Mr. Fox initially wants to go down, and Kirk is like, nah, we'll go down first. We'll make sure it's okay for you, and we'll let you know, and then you can come down. So they beam down, and it's him, Spock, or Kirk, Spock, and 3 other people, which I think this is the first time we're seeing that yeoman.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know who the 2 dudes were. They're not important.
One was Osborne.
Okay.
Oh no, there were 2 security officers, Lieutenants Galloway. Yeah, the security officers are Galloway and Osborne.
Okay. Not
But
important.
yeah, I think this is the only episode that Yeoman Tamara is in. Yeah.
Okay. Ever? She's not in more?
No, this is the only one she's in.
Oh. Okay. Anyways, so they beam down, and it's like this huge city, and then there's these people walking through corridors with really funny hats. And this lady's dress, I was trying to figure it out, because then from the side it looked like a part of it was just draped over one of the titties, and like there was nothing attaching it. I was like, that's very precarious, because if you just bend over, it's like, hello titty. But it was kind of hard to tell. It was cool though. I liked the dress. I liked
Hello Kitty.
the way.
I just think of Hello Kitty. Anyway,
Yeah.
continue.
Hello titty. uh So anyway, so there's these dude with these weird hats, and it was funny because the hallway that they were walking through was very bright and colorfully lit, but once again was definitely used, for the Enterprise's hallways. Just copy and paste. And
I do really appreciate
okay.
the way that they paint with light.
Mhm.
Like they're always using really fun colored lights in the background to make those gray
They
walls look
do.
more interesting.
Clearly, you're a fan of colored lights.
Yes,
Me. I am too, but none of mine are bright. I mean, they're colored right now, but you can't tell because there's too much white light.
Yes. Anyway.
Anywho, so Maya 3, which apparently all these people on this planet have numbers after their name.
and they don't ever explain it. Like she introduced herself as Maya 3, and I'm like, androids?
Okay.
Like you would think that they might be androids
Question
or something,
mark?
or like clones.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like no, they just have their last names are just numbers.
I mean, spoiler alert to what we find out, but considering how many people die and just like how this has become a thing for 500 years, maybe they just stopped caring as much about names, so they're like, oh, you're just gonna be given a name and it's gonna have a number after it. I don't fucking know. We may never know. So pretty much Maya comes up to greet them and is like, you shouldn't have come here, but like we'll still host you accordingly. There's danger here. And take you to see the High Council, which that's when they found out that they've been still at war for 500 years. But then Spock is like, there's no evidence that like there has been like there's these attacks that are happening. But then the dude, which I'm forgetting his name, I wrote it further down. Something 7.
Anon 7.
Anon 7. He, says there's like millions dead each year from the attacks, and they're at war with the Vendikar, which apparently was a planet not far from them that they originally settled. And yeah, no one's like hearing any attack. Their scanners don't show it. Kirk even like calls up to the Enterprise and is like, do you see anything going on down here? And they're like, nah, nothing's happening. So they're very confused. And, Maya even says like, oh, they're fusion bombs attacking.
Yeah,
And
like They're
It was
not though.
so weird. And I was starting to get to the point where, yeah, I was thinking, is this some kind of simulation? Which, I mean, technically it is. And
Yeah.
it's, yeah, these two computers fighting each other. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Who thought of this? I mean, it's a great idea. Like, but also, I just don't get how they got to that point. I obviously that's a long time to be at war with someone, but to get to the point where you're like, okay, we're just going to do computer simulations against each other, and then whoever is, computed to die, we're going to kill them essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not going to die from any kind of actual physical war. It just fascinates me how they would get to that point. Like, yes, 500 years is a long ass time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a stretch, and like at some point there's got to be some kind of agreements and treaties and whatnot you can make. So I don't know. It was just very, very interesting concept. Very surprised that this was a concept back then, especially consider computers weren't like today's computers. So it's very, very ahead of its time in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then they basically have these disintegration chambers where they go in and they go bye-bye, which is crazy. But yeah, so
Yeah,
apparently
there would have
go
had
ahead.
to have been a point where like both planets were like, hey, instead of like actually dropping these bombs and ruining each other's infrastructure, why don't we just pretend? But we'll go along with it. But for real, we're gonna pretend for real that we're fighting. Like there had to have been, like they talk about later in the episode about like they have a direct line to the Vendikar High Council. So there had to have been communication at one point where they're like, hey, let's do it this way instead. We're still actually going to kill people. We're just not going to make it, we're going to make it easier on each other, I guess. Like, I don't know. It's yeah, it's
Yeah,
an odd,
very
yeah,
odd. Very, very odd, but intriguing, and could probably talk about this for a while in terms of like philosophical, existential, blah blah blah, all the big words, concepts.
there's also,
Rick would have a field day with this.
there's also something relating to this in the episode trivia. So we might get back to this topic when we're talking about episode trivia.
Okay. Anyways, and apparently in these simulated fights, the Enterprise is destroyed.
Yeah.
So they're like, fuck, well, can't let that happen. But they say they'll save their ship, but everyone on board has to die. And I'm like, okay, what's like, why would you destroy the ship? I don't know. It's the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, and Maya says if they stop, then the Vendikar would actually attack them and it would be worse. And I'm like, I don't know if it would be worse.
Right.
Once
Yeah.
again, I don't know
I
about
mean,
that.
I don't know. Like, when you think of like, if you think of it in the way of like dropping a nuclear bomb, like that has more effects than just, as we know from history, has more effects than just the immediate death toll. So maybe in a
Definitely.
way it
Definitely.
is better. I don't know.
Yeah, like the radiation and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and contamination and pollution.
Because
Yeah, I don't know.
it depends too, right, on what the war is about. I think at this point it's just
Mhm.
because that's all they know. They've been at war for
Yeah.
500 years. But what got them to the point that they agreed to do this? Probably because they wanted each other's planets for resources or something, and they didn't want to destroy
Mhm.
the place that they were fighting for. So they decided
Yeah,
to do it this
maybe.
way without actually damaging either planet, so that whoever does end up winning can take. I don't. That's just complete and total speculation on my part, but it's the only thing that makes
Who
sense to me.
knows? Yeah, I get it, and I get it to an extent, which I mean is essentially what Spock says too. He's like, I get it, but I don't agree with it. Like that's how I pretty
Yeah, he
much feel about
understands. Yeah.
it. He understands, but he doesn't agree with it. Back on the ship though, Bones is concerned, and so is Scotty. They're like, something's going on here. And all of a sudden they get a message from Kirk, and he's like, we're good, come down. Everyone come down. We're gonna do shore leave. It's gonna be great. But Bones and McCoy. Bones and Scotty are a little sus of that message, and they ask the computer, is that Kirk's voice? Which, why haven't they done this before? The amount of times that Kirk's voice has been impersonated, I would have a lot of money for that.
Yeah, so the more I rewatch this and get it fresher in my mind, I think Scotty, aside from like, I think Scotty is the smartest person on the ship, like even more so than Spock, like.
Mm-hmm. He's very intuitive, and Spock doesn't have that.
Like Spock Scotty is immediately like, that ain't the captain. Fuck you guys.
Nope.
That's not Captain Kirk.
That ain't my captain.
It's not my captain. No hesitation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
then Spock uses his telepathy, which I don't know if we've seen that before. Right?
It's related to like the reason that they can mind meld is part of it.
Yeah.
They are telepathic in a manner. And something during this scene he references again, says Vulcanians have telepathy. And it's funny because I'm looking, like when I was looking up episode facts and trivia, it's like this is like the last time it's used. Fucking no, it's used in the next episode. Anyway.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yes. So he uses on the guard to open the door. Which
works. Had a really interesting like opening mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like
a magnet
that too. Very, very interesting. Love these little details. It's great. They capture him, put it in the room. They leave. They find the disintegration machine, and then they come up on Maya 3. They destroy the disintegration machine. We get another Vulcan nerve pinch from Spock, and the council is alerted of the situation, and Anon 7 is like, destroy the Enterprise. But luckily it wasn't destroyed, and we see Scotty doing the log.
Yeah, I wrote down Scotty gets a log.
He gets a log.
He gets a log.
And then Scotty, Bones, and Mr. Fox start fighting about what they want to do. Mr. Fox, why is that so hard to say? Keeps saying how this is a diplomatic matter, like this needs to be a priority. And so they go back to the place they were being held with Maya 3, and they get clothes and communication devices and do the essential, like pretending to be the people on this planet kind of thing. And then Mr. Fox and Non 7 like try to talk, and Mr. Fox totally thinks that he's telling the truth, which of course, once again, Scotty and Bones are suspicious of and don't believe Anon for 1 second. Smart enough. And they, think the screens should stay up. And right after that is when Kirk sneaks up on Anon. And then this whole scene of like inviting him to drink, which I was like, why is this part of this scene right now? Was very interesting. But basically they try to talk, but he pushes this button to like alert people that,
Yeah.
something's going on. And doesn't really get anywhere, but then he pretty much says like, "Oh, you can go get your communicator," like blah blah blah. And he tells him where it is, but Kirk, being smart, he says, or he like pushes Anon in front of him right into the guards, and we get Kirk Fu once again.
Yeah.
And right after that is when Mr. Fox and the other dude beam down, and of course, bad idea, because they're like, "You're dead now. Welcome.
Yeah.
You are going
So
to die."
that fight with Kirk, like I'm actually kind of surprised Kirk lost that fight. Because yeah, he was outnumbered, but how much actual fighting have these people done? Like I fully expected Kirk
Yeah,
to
that's true.
beat their asses just because he's got combat experience, like actual combat experience.
Yeah, and
Although,
he took down Khan.
yeah, and although there's also the possibility that the Armenians have to like constantly fight people who don't want to go to the disintegration chamber. Like they seem to make it seem like everybody's willing and like obedient, but that probably isn't the case. There's probably people
Probably
who
isn't.
try to flee
That's
and whatnot.
true. Yeah, that's a good point.
But yeah,
I'm guessing.
and then how did Fox and his unnamed companion beam through the shields? Because Scotty was like, "Fuck you, I'm not taking the shields down." Like
It's so weird to me that they can't beam places while the shields are up. Like your technology is so advanced, yet you can't do that.
well, that's what. Yeah, you would think they know their shields and they know the way that they work, that they would be able to figure a way around beaming. But it's also possible just that the technologies are just incompatible because the shields mainly are designed to stop like incoming weapons. And a lot of those incoming weapons are energy weapons, which are beams. And the transporter uses a matter containment beam to send your scrambled up atomic material somewhere else and reassemble it. Yeah, I was using $5 words. So it's just the nature of the shields. The shields block shit, and they block the transporter beam. But apparently not in this case, because Fox and whatever his name is beamed down to the planet. I don't think he has a name.
Yeah.
I don't think he says anything. He just kind of follows him around.
No, he's just there.
That's not Galloway.
I don't know who it is. But he also looks like he's in a similar outfit to Mr. Fox.
He is.
So I'm like, is he another ambassador?
He's listed as Fox's aide. He has no speaking roles. The dude, the actor has the best fucking name ever.
What is it?
He's Buzz Barbie.
That is the best name ever. That's amazing. I love that name, Buzz Barbie. Has he done other things? Tangent time. Has he done other things?
Let me look him up and see.
While you're doing that,
Outbreak. He was in fucking Outbreak. Outbreak. He was in the Flintstones. Naked Gun 33 and a third. Matlock, Cheers, Dynasty, L.A. Law. He's done.
You've made it when you were in Cheers.
Buck Rogers in the 25th Century.
Fun fact, that was playing on the TV when I was born.
He's been in quite a few things. He was in Jailhouse Rock. Most of his roles he's got a wild amount of uncredited. He's got like all of his roles are listed except for Outbreak and Eye for an Eye are listed as uncredited. Why is he always uncredited? Interesting.
Because his name is Buzz Barbie.
He's mostly a background actor. Like all his roles are bar patron, juror, party guest, penthouse club patron, restaurant patron, wedding guest, bar patron, courtroom spectator. Like he's just maybe maybe he doesn't know how to
Huh.
do. Maybe he can only act by standing there. Like he doesn't actually know how to act.
Maybe he just likes doing that. I know some
He
people in Hollywood that just like to be in the background.
he was a professional touring ice skater.
Okay, anyways,
All right, let's
tangent
get back to
time.
the episode. Tangent time
This
is
is
over.
fun.
Fucking Buzz
Tangent
Barbie.
time's over. So yeah, Spock is finally able to contact the ship and, tells them what's been going on. And Spock and crew leave the Yeoman with Maya, and we have Spock to the rescue. He destroys one of the chambers, and Anon pleads to Kirk, saying, like, this is what we have to do. And Anon calls the Enterprise and pretty much says they'll be killed unless they come to the surface, which I'm like, these, like, there's so many threats back and forth between them. It's very hard to keep track of. I mean, I did, but I was like, this is a lot. But then says the target's been moved out of range, so obviously the Enterprise moved. Scotty, and then right back, Scotty says the surface will be destroyed if they don't surrender the hostages, and I'm like, oh my god, this is too much. And while Kirk's in the council, somehow he then overtakes them after being taken down by them before, and he grabs the phasers and he grabs 2 of them, and there's like, I don't know, 7, 8 dudes there. And
so this confused me too, and then I realized 2 of them are Kirk's security officers in confiscated uniforms.
Okay.
They're
okay. Because I know Kirk came in, but I'm sorry, no, but Spock came in with those people. I thought. I didn't think there was already people in the room.
Hang on, I'm pulling it up because there is. I don't think it was when you said 8. I was thinking it was definitely the.
I mean, I don't know how many. I'm just spitballing numbers.
There's quite a few, but maybe it was before. Maybe it was before that then.
Because then, I mean, it's like right after that when Spock and the other dudes that are in the uniforms come in that are on Kirk's side. Anyways, so, and then Kirk destroys the computer, which, take a drink if there's a computer that Kirk has to destroy in an episode, because it's like every episode now. Which I was like, this trope was so interesting, but for that to be the part of the final act, I was like, okay, well, we've seen this before.
Well, I mean, it has a different
it's different. I get that
consequence.
Kirk
is a
he's a computer destroyer. He's a barbarian.
He's a serial computer murderer.
Murder. Losing it.
That's an Eddie Izzard bit. Vacuum cleaners. The wait, hang on. The consequences then might actually be real war. So maybe you should fucking talk to these people. Also, I do have to laugh because before this, like, no, I'll save that for my favorite moments.
Okay.
Never mind. Continue.
And Kirk goes on this whole speech on how saying they're killers and blah, blah, and they need to come to terms with it and try to make peace. They can't keep doing this simulation with the computers fighting, blah, blah, blah. And they pretty much say, I mean, they have no choice because the computers are destroyed, but they find out that apparently Mr. Fox is the one that ends up getting involved in these negotiations, which, is what he wanted to do anyway, so that made sense. And says they're going well, and all is good again. The end.
Yeah.
That's it. End of story.
Bye. I don't have anything else written down. The last thing I have written down is what I put in what I'll put in my favorite moments. There's the whole thing. You covered everything with General Order 24. So yeah, let's go to favorite lines and moments then.
All right, you can go ahead since you were just talking about it.
there was one part. I think it was actually it was earlier in the episode. It's Kirk, but when he says, "I've done it. I'm just getting started." I forget what he was talking about. I think it was when Anon was talking to him about how Kirk thinks he can destroy the planet all by himself,
Oh,
and
yes,
Kirk's
yes,
like,
yes.
"I've done it. I'm just getting started." Like, just the way
Yeah,
that
oh,
he
I mean, he
delivered that
also
line.
says that he doesn't need the Enterprise.
Yeah,
I had that note in here, but I must have skipped over it. That somehow he doesn't need the Enterprise to destroy their planet. I'm like, how the fuck you gonna do that?
by destroying the computer and making the Vendicarians destroy the planet.
But I mean, okay, fine, whatever. I guess that is the
Technically.
answer. Fine. Anything else?
Yeah. So, Buzz Barbie. They just fucking leave him in the corridor. Like he gets shot with one of these sonic disruptors, which obviously they made these sonic disruptors sonic so that they didn't have to put any kind of visual effect in when they got fired. They didn't have to put like a beam like they do with the phasers. Like, I mean, that's the only reason you make your weapons work on sound, right? So that you don't have to add visual effects. Yeah, so he gets hit with a sonic disruptor and just kind of like falls back against the wall and slumps down, and they're like, he's fucked. And they leave. They just leave him in the hallway.
I know. That was
That's
great.
it. That's mine.
Yeah, let's see. For lines in particular, I just liked have a bunny trip from
Yeah.
Scotty at the beginning. And then let's see, I think all those that's what they said. There's a couple more. Scrolling,
Scotty has it.
scrolling. Oh, sir, there is a multi-legged creature crawling on your shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
Spock. Pinch. Which, I mean, works, because then it's kind of like there's a multi-legged creature on his shoulder. Oh, when Scotty says the best diplomat is... Oh, the best diplomat I know is a fully activated phaser bank.
Yeah.
That's good. Very good. And he also says, but I'll not lower my defense on the word of that mealy-mouthed gentleman down below.
Yeah. He has a couple of good ones. He also says the haggis is in the fire for sure. And then that Poppin' J. Fox went down a couple of minutes ago.
Yep.
I don't know what.
I did like how when Anon asks Kirk, what kind of monster are you? And he says, I'm a barbarian, because that's what Anon called him before. I was like, witty banter. I like it.
Apparently
like
a Poppin' J is a vain or conceited person, especially one who dresses or behaves extravagantly. Also, archaic definition, a parrot.
Okay.
So there you go.
And then another line is, sometimes a feeling, Mr. Spock, is all we have to go on. Kirk, I'm like, oh, so philosophical, Kirk. And then he says, why, Mr. Spock? You almost make me believe in miracles. And I'm like, these corny lines at the end of the episode, they've been doing it for a bit now, but I'm like, okay, y'all. Do we have to do it every time?
I think the first part of that. So I noticed that line in particular myself, but the first part of that line is Spock says to Kirk, Captain, you almost make me believe in luck. And I think that Kirk saying, Mr. Spock, you almost make me believe in miracles, is because if you make Spock believe in luck, then that's a miracle.
Do you believe in magic? Sorry.
Music. It's time for the musical interlude.
Yes.
I
That's
really
all I
want to
have
put
for
Monty Python intermission here.
That's all I have for quotes. Specific like moments or scenes. Oh gosh. I mean, I mean, I did like that moment with Spock and like, you have a multi-legged creature on your
Yeah.
shoulder. That was clever. I don't know. There's a lot of good scenes. I think even when Kirk was trying to talk to Anon and, explain to him that, you're killers, you have to come to terms with it, but like this isn't the way to do things. Like, I thought that was a good conversation they had. I'm trying to think of other moments that happened. Yeah, Scotty's lines were just great. Appreciated any of those.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any more?
No, I the whole exchange with Mia 3, like when Kirk essentially takes her hostage, like, and won't let her kill herself.
Yeah.
And when he leaves her with Tamora in the, essentially he's like, sit on her if you have to.
Yeah, that
Like,
was funny.
don't let her leave and run into a
I
fucking
tried.
disintegration chamber.
I almost put that as one of the that's what they said, but I was like, can also come across the wrong way, so figured better not.
Yeah, that's I don't have any others. So speaking of that's what they said,
Okay.
shall we go to that's what they said?
Yes, we shall. You can go first.
Okay. This is your that's what they said for episode 23, A Taste of Armageddon. We're going
Fancy. I congratulate you on your instrumentation.
If you'll follow me, please.
You will come this way.
Oh, yes.
Are you sure you can do it, Mr. Spock?
Do your best.
Surely you can see the position we're in.
I had assumed you needed help.
Oh, I need help.
Is there anything else we can do?
There's a chance it may work, Captain.
Yay!
Yay! That's what they said for this episode. A Taste of Armageddon.
That will bring us to episode trivia from Memory Alpha.
Ooh.
There's a number of these this week. According to David Gerald, the computer tallies of war dead in this episode was a statement about the Vietnam War deaths that began to be registered on nightly newscasts in 1967. So yeah, that's, I can see how
I could see that.
Like, yeah, I think it's pretty, like, I didn't think of it because I just like, I don't think of the Vietnam War because I wasn't around
We're
for
not
it.
living in the Vietnam. Yeah, exactly.
And it's, however many years ago.
I was barely a seed.
Yeah. Not to downplay it.
Make light of it.
Yeah, I wasn't around for any of it, and by the time I really have memory of being able to understand, it wasn't as hot a topic as it had been. So it doesn't register. It's not something that I think of often, but I can definitely see the allusions to it in this. And he was I don't know who David Gerald is.
Okay.
Is he the one who wrote the episode? His name is not on the thing. I don't know. Yeah, anyway.
Didn't do the thing to the thing.
Scotty's refusal to lower the shields against orders is based on an actual story from James Doohan's military service. As a lieutenant in the Royal Canadian Artillery, he was threatened with court-martial for real for saying, "No, sir, I will not," to a visiting colonel when he realized the training exercise order would entail blowing the heads off some of his own men. Fortunately, his immediate supervisors backed him up. Now, I don't know if that means, like, it would have actually, like, hurt these men, or, like, in the exercise, theoretically, like, if he would do that in a real situation, it would have killed his own men, or if it was actually going to hurt these people during this training ceremony.
I just thought of something I should have done for the meme. Black Mirror. This is very Black Mirror-esque. Damn it. Oh well. Next time.
So yeah, so that's kind of like something that James Doohan actually had happen to him in real life. And he was a badass because he refused, despite that's one of the things that comes up not just in Star Trek but in other like military science fiction, is how many atrocities occurred just because someone says, "I was just following orders."
So many. It's
when Mia 3 escorts the landing party from the beam down area to the council chamber, the transitions of scenes is conveyed not through a cut or a dissolve, but through a wipe. The only time such an effect is used in the original series. It's at around the 6 minute, depending on your platform, it's around the 6 minute and 50-second mark.
Did this little franchise called Star Wars copy that?
I don't think so, because this is the only time that Star Trek did it, and Star Wars almost exclusively uses wipes. Just in different directions.
Or the Looney Tunes.
Iris out. Yeah, iris in and iris out.
Hashtag in and out.
This episode, the naked time, and the next episode begin and end with the same shot of the Enterprise. And then Spock mentions the telepathic capabilities found among Vulcanians. In Mudd's Women, Harry Mudd refers to Spock as part Vulcanian. Spock also uses the term Vulcanian in Court Martial. Later episodes identified them as Vulcans, except, the next one where they say it again.
Yeah. Clearly, Memory Alpha is not always.
It's not just Memory Alpha. I was looking at an episode recap on TV Tropes too, and their site also said it was the last time they used Vulcanians.
Well,
and then I watched the next episode, and it also they used Vulcanian, and I'm like, are you people watching these? So that is it.
I feel like they probably just looked at stuff and were like, "Oh, that's right," or looked at Memory Alpha and they're like, "That's right."
Maybe. That does it for your episode trivia. That will bring us to spoilers without context.
Memes. Memes.
I think
Don't ask me who went
first last time, so we'll have Ensign Kayla go first.
All right. On a diplomatic mission to Alderaan, our girl, rest in peace, Leia, had to put her because, diplomatic relations and all that shit. And then I had to put two computers fighting.
Appreciate that one too.
Yes. Two computers fighting, because duh. This made me really sad to include this moment from Infinity War. But, it's probably the most iconic in the blip of all the Avengers. Poor little Tom Holland Spidey fading away, going into dust. And then if you don't recognize that is the Vanishing Cabinet in Harry Potter. Kind of reminded me of the disintegration chamber where, put something in and then you open it back up and they're gone. But, in the case of the Vanishing Cabinet, it just goes to a different cabinet. But, in this one, kills people. So there's that.
Gone forever. Send them to the cat dimension.
You're going to die today.
Okay, very good. So we will bring my spoilers without context up, and I had to use Devo because of the hats.
Yes, that was good.
And did you notice there were different hats? And I bet it had something to do with like what
Right.
department or rank they were in. Because
Mhm.
like the first people had like square hats, and then the people later had like triangle pointy hats, and then someone
Mhm.
had like one with 3 points on the back of it. Yeah, there were very different.
Many many hats.
Yes, and then I had used Battleship because similar to like your computer, like
I
essentially
almost used
the
Battleship.
big game of Battleship.
Yeah.
I used the suicide booth from Futurama in place of like the disintegration chamber because it
Yeah.
made sense to me. And then the
Same,
bat
same.
phone from the Adam West Batman because they were like, we have a direct line to the Vendikar High Council, but we haven't used it in centuries. Like, maybe you should pick up the phone.
Yeah, really. It's so hard for people to communicate, yet it's so easy to do it.
Yeah. So that'll do it
Crazy
for
concept.
your spoilers without context.
Mhm.
That brings us to ranking the episode.
Oh
Ensign
boy.
Kayla,
Oh
how do
boy.
you rank A Taste of Armageddon? You want a taste?
Hmm. Just a little taste, a little tasty taste.
A little taste?
I I'm kind of torn. God, I say this every time. Um it's hard. I'm so indecisive about things because I see all the sides to things and I want to see the good in things. Um but I don't know how necessary this is to watch. It's good, it's entertaining, it is a different trope. Like we use that why can't I think of the word? Not
Criteria?
categories.
Cri-
Criteria. Mhm. Um to rank. But I don't know. I I don't really want to watch this again. So I'm gonna give it Lieutenant because still somewhat entertaining, but like, yeah, don't really need to watch it. But if you have time to watch it, watch it.
Perfect.
That's me. How about
That's
you?
me too. Same.
Okay.
Lieutenant. It's a good
Stop
episode.
copying me. Just
It's-
kidding.
I'll do what I want. I'm an adult. Uh yeah, it is a fine episode of science fiction. Um but definitely not 100% necessary and not like a super notable episode.
Yeah.
I mean, it's worth it just to see Buzz Barbie,
Mhm.
which pour one out for Buzz Barbie. It's 10 years. 10 years since he passed away. He died October 30th, 2013, so we're coming up on the 10-year
Cheers.
anniversary of Buzz Barbie's death. Go watch something that he's not credited in, which is basically everything he's been in.
Yeah. Poor dude. I feel so bad.
He is just a background actor. It said that he's a
Oh.
professional touring ice skater and a well-known background actor and member of the Screen Extras Guild. I did not know that was a guild
Hmm.
that existed. So, yeah,
Of the
he's just
what guild?
Screen Extras Guild.
Oh, extra. So SEG.
Yep. Seg, not
Did not know
SAG.
that was a thing either. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't either. Um so yeah. Our next episode is This
Mhm.
Side of Paradise. And
Mhm.
this is a very to the point. IMDb.com says the Enterprise investigates a planet whose colonists should be dead, but are not.
There we go.
There you go.
That's it. End of story. Good day. And don't
I
need to
said
watch.
good day.
I said good day. Anyways,
Um,
thanks everyone for tuning in. If you're watching on the replay, thanks for watching on the replay. Make sure to smack that like, smack that subscribe, smack that bell icon. You can follow us at GTFO channel on all the socials, or you can email us You told me how to say this and I already forgot how to say
Our
this.
email address is
Our email address is channelgtfo@gmail.com. So it is the reverse of our socials. Yeah, and tomorrow night we're going to be talking about the first 2 episodes of The Fall of the House of Usher, which comes out today on Netflix. So go watch it so you can come join in on the discussion. We'll be having some special guests with us, and very excited to do that. And Mondays we'll be doing our Stranger Things watch rewatch. It is Johnny's first time with Stranger Things, and I've watched it.
little bit of a flippy floppy
It's a little bit of reverse
role
cowgirl
reversal.
here.
Yeah.
It's a little reversey. And yeah, so tune into that Monday nights for the rest of October, and then we'll kind of do them sporadically after that. Yeah, I think that's it. Is there anything else, Johnny?
No,
Okay.
you
All
covered it.
right. Until next time, peace and long life.
Live long and prosper.
Bye.